So my name's Chris Hines. I'm the founder of an animal rights organisation called Virtue, and I also work with the Devon Animal Save group locally as well. First off, just so I can get a gauge, is anyone here vegan already? Any vegans? Got one? Two? Okay. That's good, okay, right. So everyone else is either veggie or eating meat or something. First thing I just want everyone to know is I'm definitely not here to judge you guys at all, okay? I'm totally not. All I really want to do is just basically just say the things I've learned and just try and share some information that I've learned over the years. And all I ask is just, that you just take what I say seriously, just so you know kind of the things that I do. Over the years, I've been involved in undercover investigation. I regularly go to slaughterhouses to see the animals go in. I've been to factory farms. I've seen a lot of the stuff that I'm going to tell you about firsthand. So all I ask is just have an open mind, listen to what I've got to say, and then at the end you can grill me as much as you want and ask any questions, all right? So first off, not including the vegans, because you're already vegan, who can tell me what veganism actually is? Go for it.
Don't eat any products from an animal.
Okay, so that's actually one part of veganism, okay?
Or where?
Yeah, or where. Okay, so basically, veganism has got a kind of stigma. Everyone kind of thinks that veganism is a diet, and it's far from it. Veganism is actually a philosophy. So I'll show you what the actual definition of veganism is. So it's a philosophy and way of life which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension, promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of humans, animals, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. So basically, the diet part is just an extension of the philosophy. The philosophy is basically a moral framework against the exploitation of animals in all senses. So whether that be animals in the zoo, or the animals that we wear, or the animals that we test on, all of that all encompasses veganism. Now, one thing I really want to make clear, just to really get it out of the way, it's not a religion at all. A lot of people seem to think it's a religion. We don't worship the god of tofu or anything like that. It is literally just a moral framework. And in the same way that people were fighting for the rights of people of color over the years, or people still today fighting for that, and people still fighting for women's rights and all that kind of stuff, we're fighting for the rights of the other beings that live on this planet. We're fighting against the battle of speciesism. Now, I basically gave up meat back in 2002. And before that, I ate meat all the time. Like, I used to love gammon, I used to love going to McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff. Actually, the day before I went vegetarian, I had probably 5 or 6 double cheeseburgers at Mackey's. So I definitely didn't give it up because I didn't like the taste of it or anything like that. What happened was there was a band called Goldfinger, and they released an album called Open Your Eyes. And on that album was a video called Meet Your Meat. And I sat down and watched it, and it basically showed me what happened to animals in food production, in no censoring or anything. And I'd always considered myself an animal lover. We used to have cats at home. I used to have loads of pets. Used to keep like reptiles and all that kind of stuff. And from watching that, I was just like, I can't be a part of that. I've always considered myself an animal lover. How can I possibly stand here and be like, well, I love animals, but yet at the same time, I'm paying for these horrific things to happen to them? Over the years, I started just researching more and more and more. Obviously, I became vegetarian literally instantly after watching that video. And 4 years ago, I finally learned about the dairy and the egg industries and realized that the whole reason why I went vegetarian in the first place, which was to stop cruelty to animals, the animals in these industries, that was happening to them as well. So therefore, it was just a logical step to then eliminate those foods as well. Then obviously over time, I've started to do things, like none of my clothes are made of leather or anything like that. Obviously, I try to buy products that aren't tested on animals, and et cetera, et cetera. So I've learned quite a lot over the years, and the more I've learned, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the film The Matrix. Veganism is a little bit like taking the red pill. You go down the wormhole and you suddenly open your eyes and you realize all the things that we've been told, to put it bluntly, is bullshit. It's total lies. And hopefully I'm just going to help you kind of just learn about that a little bit today and kind of open your eyes to some of the things that I've learned. So first off, I'm just going to show you a video. It's about 6 minutes long. It is quite graphic at points, but I just really want you to just keep an open mind. Everything you're going to see will be all from UK farms, and it's just going to give you a little taster of what actually happens to animals in our food industry. And the one thing I would say, if you're thinking of looking away, put this in your mind, okay? If it's not good enough for your eyes, why is it good enough for your stomach?
There are approximately 11,000 pig farms in the UK. Around 1,400 of these units house more than 1,000 pigs and hold around 85% of the total pig population in the UK. Most pigs are officially entitled to less than 1 square metre of space each, and the majority of sows or female breeding pigs are kept in farrowing crates. These were made illegal in several countries across Europe, but are still standard farming practice here in the UK. One of the methods of slaughter for pigs in the UK is the gas chamber, where groups of pigs are herded into metal cages which are then dropped into a chamber that is filled with carbon dioxide. Once inside the chamber, the pigs scream and thrash, fighting for their lives for up to 30 seconds. This method of slaughter is used for UK supermarkets including Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's, Lidl and Waitrose. Cows are mammals who, like humans, only produce milk to feed their children. Therefore, for a cow to produce milk, she must first give birth to a calf. This means dairy cows are impregnated every year in order to keep a continuous milk supply. This is done through artificial insemination, a process in which semen is first obtained from a bull before being injected inside the uterus of the female dairy cow. The farmer does this by inserting his arm inside the cow's anus and holding her cervix in place before sliding a needle through the cervix and injecting the semen inside of her. Calves would naturally feed from their mothers for around 9 months to a year, but dairy calves are taken away from their mothers normally within 24 to 72 hours of birth. This is done in order for the farmer to ensure as much milk as possible can be acquired from the mother. If the calf is female, she'll be separated from her mother and kept in solitary confinement with barely any room to move. She will then face the same fate as her mother, being forcibly impregnated continuously so her udders can be pumped for milk that be consumed by humans. After around 4 to 6 years, and when the cow is too weak to continue, she is sent to be slaughtered, even though a cow's natural lifespan is around 25 years. There is a misconception that buying dairy means that cows don't have to die. However, all dairy cows are slaughtered, and each year around 150,000 cows are slaughtered while still pregnant. If the calf is male, he will be of no use to the dairy industry and generally less suitable for beef production. This means that every year around 90,000 male dairy calves are shot soon after birth and discarded as a byproduct. Every year in the UK, we slaughter around 950 million birds for food consumption, including chickens, ducks and turkeys. 90% of chicken production in the UK is indoors, with the birds kept in extremely cramped sheds, which usually house anywhere between 20 to 50,000 chickens each. Due to selective breeding and genetic modification, the birds reach slaughter age in just 41 days. In essence, meaning that they are chicks in an obese adult body, as at 41 days old in the wild, the chicks would still be sheltering under their mother's wings. Due to the incredibly fast rates of growth, birds raised for meat suffer terribly, their young bones unable to support them, breaking under the weight and strain of their disfigured bodies, resulting in painful lameness, which prevents them from eating, drinking, or even standing up. The birds are transported in tiny crates, creating an extremely stressful environment with no access to food or water. Those that make it alive to the slaughterhouse are then shackled by their feet and hung upside down. After they have been shackled, they are then carried to an electric water bath where they will suffer a painful electric shock that's purpose is to render them unconscious. However, many of the birds do not get stunned as they don't make contact with the water, and some regain consciousness before they reach the net cutter, meaning that these birds are fully conscious as their throats are sliced open. They are then moved to the scalding tank, where their feathers are loosened prior to being plucked. Astonishingly, an estimated 8.4 million birds are still alive at this stage and are boiled alive in the scalding tank. One of the many hidden horrors of the egg industry occurs at the beginning of the process. Chickens raised for egg production are of a different breed to those raised for meat, meaning that the male chicks are not suitable to be slaughtered for their flesh. It is estimated that up to 40 million day-old male chicks are killed each year in the UK by either being gassed or thrown into a macerator and ground up alive. In the UK, over 10 billion eggs are produced each year, with around 51% of those eggs produced by hens kept in cages. Battery cages were banned across the UK in 2012. However, the use of enriched cages is still allowed. There is a misconception that buying free-range eggs means that egg-laying hens have lived a fulfilled and happy life. However, this is untrue. Even though eggs sold as free-range must come from hens who have access to the outdoors, most are never able to roam outside due to the severe overcrowding and lack of space. In fact, a free-range farmer can legally house 16,000 birds in one building, meaning that they can house 9 birds per square metre of space.
Now, all the stuff that you've seen there is standard practice. None of that is seen as cruelty by the industry at all. And these are the kind of things that we are not told about. And one thing that I started to do when I started to watch videos like this is I went, you know what, I want to see if this is true. I want to go out and see these things for myself. So I did. So I went to some factory farms. I went to a pig factory farm, went to a slaughterhouse, I went to a chicken factory farm. And what did I find? Exactly the same things. Now I've got a few examples here just to kind of show you exactly. So all the videos you're going to see now are things that I have filmed. Okay, so these are from me, and this hasn't, I haven't gone around looking for the worst case scenario or something. I've literally just gone to a couple of places, and this is what I've seen. So yeah, this is a slaughterhouse in Bodmin. Obviously, this isn't too far from us at all. So these cows are basically about to go into slaughter. They're going to be killed with a bolt gun to the head and then have their throats slit. As you can see, I mean, these animals are just friendly, just want love, just want affection. And we're basically taking them to their deaths for what is basically a snack. You can see here, there's a lot of the, these are the skins after they'd been killed. And in a second, you'll see a large, actually there's some more cows here. After this, you'll see there's a big blue container, and spilling out of that container is basically all the guts, the heads, and all the bits that we don't generally think about. And all this is in public view. If you ever wanted to go check it out yourself, the slaughterhouse is down in Bodmin. Just show up and go and have a look for yourself. Some other things that I've seen over, one thing is sheep, and you can see how many of the sheep are limping. At first, I thought it was maybe just a few, and then you'll see in a second, as the camera pans over, you'll see that it's majority of the herd. And again, this is pretty standard stuff. This is just literally from me walking around and and looking at things for myself. This is from I don't know how well you can see that, it's a bit dark, but this is from a chicken factory farm I went to. This was basically one of the bins. The bins were literally full of dead chickens. This was completely covered in maggots. It was absolutely disgusting. Like, literally opened it up and thought I was going to throw up. The state of the barns was pretty much what you saw on the video before. Tons of chickens just packed into barns. The thing about meat chickens, they're only between 6 to 8 weeks old when they go to slaughter. So they're babies. And they've been genetically modified to grow from these little tiny chicks to these big chickens in such a short amount of time that it really affects their bodies, and they get so big so quickly that they can barely stand up, they barely can support themselves. This is Eva and Gelder, who got saved from a factory farm. I don't know if you can see, but like, Eva here was in a right state. She had like lots of feathers missing from her. She couldn't even stand up. I don't know if you can kind of see. She had her legs kind of splayed to the side. This is a very, very regular thing to see at chicken factory farms. It took us maybe 3 to 4 weeks of medication, giving her calcium injections, giving her physiotherapy and everything to get her kind of walking again. I've got actually a little video. I don't know if you're able to see this. This is one of the first days we actually got her walking again, which was really sweet. And they've gone to a sanctuary now, which is really nice. And now, yeah, we've got again, it's still really dark, but that's a picture of them now. Anyway, chowing down on some watermelon, which is nice. So just a quick question. So does anyone, seems a bit random, but it'll make sense. Does anyone know how many humans have ever existed on this planet since the dawn of time? Like how many how many humans we've ever had on the planet? Anyone want to take a guess? No? Okay, well the answer is 107 billion. Okay, which is a pretty big number, right? 107 billion humans to have ever existed since the dawn of time. Now think about this. Every single year, we kill 160 billion minimum animals for food. We are wiping out more than the entire of human race since its existence every single year. And that's actually a conservative estimate. That is actually quite a low estimate. They estimate that with marine animals on their own, we could be killing up to 2.7 trillion every single year. So what I'm going to want to go to here is what we are doing justified? Again, we're talking about the ethics of veganism. Is there a reason that we do this? I think one thing we can all agree on is that harming another breathing, living, sentient being like an animal, if it's totally unnecessary, is a wrong thing to do, right? We shouldn't do something unless there's a real reason to do it. So I'm going to kind of put it out to you guys. So why do we eat animals? Does anyone want to take a guess at that? Because if you think about it, this should be an easy question, right? This should be a real easy question. Why do we do it? Anyone? I mean, don't worry if it sounds stupid or anything, but because I ask myself the same thing. Like, you know, it's a question that we never stop to think about. We never ever stop to think, why do we do what we do? And I'll tell you the reasons that we do it. One, habit. We've always done it. We've done it since the day we were born. Since the day we were born, we were given animal products and said, that's food. We've never stopped to think about whether it should be or whether it shouldn't be. It's just become completely normal. So why would we question it? Another thing, tradition. You know, things like the Christmas turkey, things like that. We do it because that's what we do. It's Christmas time. We have a turkey. Like, we never stop to think, well, do we need to or anything like that? Now, what I'm going to try and do is completely bust that necessity myth for you. So the first thing to realize is that we do not biologically need animal products at all in our diets. This is a statement from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. This is the largest collective of nutritionists and dietitians on the planet. And they've outright made this statement. And you can see here, it is the position of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that appropriately based vegetarian, including vegan diets, are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. These diseases are appropriate for all stages of life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. Basically saying we do not need animal products. We can get everything we need and live happy and healthy on plant-based foods. This is also backed up by the British Dietetic Association, by the American Dietetic Association. So whether we need it biologically is completely, that's completely busted. We don't. If we did, I'd probably be dead by now. I haven't eaten any animal products for many years, and I'm still happy and healthy. I'm not ill. I'm all good. And the same with pretty much everyone else. The other thing is, is it kind of, is it our only option? I mean, no, we're not Inuits. We're not living out in this, kind of barren area where the only option is to pick up, is to try and kill a pig. We can just go to Sainsbury's and pick something off the shelf. We can go to pretty much every supermarket, every single chain store around now, including even places like Nando's, have got vegan menus these days. The options are there for us to take. And I always think if there is a kinder option that we can take in any sense of anything, then we should probably take it, and especially when it involves, the lives of another being, because in the end, these animals are not really much different to us. They can feel, they feel pain, they can see, they can hear, they can reproduce, they can pretty much do all the things that we do. So what really is the difference between us and an animal that means it's okay to do things to them for no reason, but it's not okay to do it to us? This is something for you guys to think about. Another thing to realize as well is deep down, we already, everyone is already on the side of the animals. Think about it. Who's seen the film Babe? Anyone seen the film Babe? Everyone's rooting for the pig, right? Chicken Run. Everyone's rooting for the chickens. Yeah, everyone roots for the animals already. And we already defend all the rest of the animals, like the Yulin Dog Meat Festival. Everyone thinks it's bad to eat dogs. Everyone thinks it's bad that we keep orcas in SeaWorld. But what difference is there between those animals and the animals that we eat? Nothing, really. They're just a different species. They still feel the same. In fact, pigs are more intelligent than dogs. They're the 5th most intelligent animal on the planet. So why are we doing things to pigs that we would never do to our own pet dogs? So as well as the ethics behind the animal side, there is some other factors that come into play as well, such as the environmental impact of animal agriculture and also the health impact. A lot of people don't realize that animal products have been linked to most of our major killers, such as heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, some forms of cancer. The main cause of that is animal products. And when it comes to the environment, animal agriculture is destroying the environment. It's the biggest cause of deforestation, the biggest cause of ocean dead zones. It's producing more greenhouse gases than the entire world's transport combined. Again, we should go back to that question. Is it necessary? Do we actually need to do it? And I hope that just from showing you this, it's a real simple question. It's not. It's really not. And I know it's a big thing to get your head around. I know, because I've gone through this whole process. We've done it all our lives. We like the taste of bacon. We like the taste of Burger King. We like the taste of all that. But at the same time, we love animals. And we don't want this stuff to happen to them. We care about our planet. So why would we choose to do something when we've got other options? And the good thing is, like I said, we've got plenty of other options. They taste great. I don't live off grass. I don't live off just nuts and seeds. I eat pizzas and burgers and kebabs and pretty much everything everyone else does, just the meat-free version. So basically, you guys have kind of got a kind of moral kind of choice to make here. I mean, I appreciate that you guys probably didn't know half of this stuff when you turned up, which is fine. But now you do, you've got to think to yourself, what are you going to do with that information? Are you going to make a decision to try and make a change and to try and, and do something that's going to, help these animals and help the environment and obviously get healthy at the same time, which is good? Or are you just going to continue to live like we always have and just put the blinders back on? And I know that's an easy thing to do. I know it's easy just to go, you know what, I just don't want to know. But ultimately, eating animals is not a personal choice when there is a victim involved. So we should really stop to consider that.